Hi, once again. We are back to make another recipe in the Great British Baking Show Kitchen Classics Cookbook. Say that fast 3 times. And I have made Prue's lemon and thyme bundt cake. And actually made this about a month ago. So I'm kind of going backwards on this one. But it was kind of my first one. I didn't make the Victorian sponge for the first recipe. I jumped to this one because I was just so excited to do it. And I got that fancy cake tin that you see in there. So I would recommend getting that fancy cake tin. You don't have to, but it wasn't very expensive and it makes the cake really, really pretty when you come out. For those of you who watch the show, you know that this was a technical challenge. So we are lucky that we get the full recipe and not on a time limit to make it, because for me, this was a little more time consuming. So I'm going to give you a little warning about that. I think it was because I bought fresh thyme. And you know, if you cook with thyme a lot, those little tiny leaves, if they're not dry enough, they don't slide off the stem. And so I was picking the little pieces of thyme off. So that, I guess that was the most time consuming part, was getting the thyme ready. And don't be afraid of the amount of time that it calls for in the recipe. She's correct in that. It lifts the cake. It gives it a nice citrus lemony flavor along with the lemon flavoring in it. So I would not be scared about the time. So go grab your fancy cake tin and make this bundt cake, and we'll come back and we'll talk about it.
The cake that I'm baking today is Prue's lemon and thyme bundt cake, and they actually did this cake as a technical challenge on this particular season. And you'll see it's in a very beautiful shape. So I have the cake tin to make it in. So you'll see that it has lots of ridges. So I've got to make sure that I put a lot of butter in there so it doesn't stick. So I have the fancy tin, and I'm just taking some softened butter and I'm brushing it into all those little nooks and crannies. Make sure that you do that. I've kind of just laid out all my ingredients here. You can see there's quite a few elements to this cake. And so I'm mixing up the batter. So I've got my eggs. I've already creamed the butter and the sugar. So I'm just adding the eggs one at a time. I'm mixing those together. And then I'm putting in my flour, and this recipe has self-rising flour in it. There's some lemon zest going in there, lots of yummy lemonness all through this cake. I personally think you can't have enough lemon. I love it. And there's all that delicious thyme that I painstakingly picked, and some lemon juice going in there as well. So I have my batter, and I'm packing it in the tin, ready for it to bake. So I'm putting it in the oven, as you can see. And while that's baking, I'm making the lemon syrup that's going to go over the cake and give it some lovely moisture, which is really, really good. So it's just lemon and thyme and sugar. So you're just going to let that simmer for a little bit. Now I'm going to move on and make the candied lemon peel. So I've just shaved off some lemon, the peel there, and sliced it into like matchstick shapes. And you can see that right there. And then I'm putting it in some water to boil, and you're going to want to do this twice over. And there is my lemon lime thyme syrup. Not lime, sorry, lemon syrup. And then back to the candy peel again. It's my second boil there. So I'm draining that. And then putting it back into the pot. Putting some more water. And yes, that's my second boil. Sorry about that. So boil it twice is what the recipe calls for. Then you're going to add some sugar to it and some more water, and this is going to make it candied. And this is going to take a little while to do on the stove. You want it to get almost translucent, and it's amazing what it does. So I've checked my cake. I believe it is done. I'm going to take it out of the tin after it's cooled a little bit. It came out beautifully, just one little tiny place left some batter in the pan. So next you're going to just take something and skewer. I have a skewer, and you're just going to poke holes all through the cake so that when you brush on that lovely syrup, it's going to soak into the cake. Get in all those crooks and crannies there. That is my fail. I turned my eyes away of the lemon peel, had to do it all over again. I am taking some thyme stems, putting it in some egg white so that the sugar will stick to it. So just lay that out, kind of tap it a little bit with a paper towel, and then just sprinkle it with some sugar, and it will stick to it. That's just going to be for decoration. There's my sugared lemon peel there. I'm going to add some more sugar to it. I'm going to make my glaze with just some powdered sugar. They call it icing sugar in the book, but it's just powdered sugar to us here in the good old USA. And adding some lemon juice to make it nice and runny there. And then I put it in a piping bag, and I'm trying my best to just run it right through the crevices like they did in the picture. And so you just take your candied lemon peel and your thyme with sugar for some decoration on top. And there it is. So there's the picture in the book. So I think I came pretty close. I was very proud of this cake. It's lovely. I think you will love, love, love this cake. It is not that difficult to make. It's just got lots of little steps to do. But I think you're really going to love making this cake. So there again, you see a picture of it and mine, and finally just a picture of the cake itself. So I'm going to talk about it just a little bit more.
So how did you do? Did you make it? I had a fail on this one. I'm going to just be honest with you. And it was I was making the crystallized lemon candy peel. I had never made that before. I've always seen it and wondered, oh, how do you make that? And so I took my eyes off the stove for just 1 second and I burnt it. So I had to start all over again with the crystallized lemon strips. So that was my major fail. Everything else turned out pretty well. Make sure that you grease that Bundt pan really, really well with the butter, because there's a lot of, nooks and crannies in there. And when you flip it over, you want to make sure that the cake completely comes out, no holes. Speaking of, I also did not pack down the batter in that fancy tin, and I had a little bit of a tunneling in the middle, and I think it's just because I had not compressed the batter enough. So next time I make this, which I will make this cake again, I will make sure and do that. Let's see. I felt like the icing sugar needed a little more lemon juice when I made mine, so I added a little bit more to that. But all in all, the recipe is very simple to follow through. You just have some different steps. You've got to make the cake. You've got to make the syrup. You've got to make the crystallized the crystallized lemon peel. And then, of course, the icing sugar to go on top. So all in all, it shouldn't take you that long. They give you an hour and 40 minutes. I took longer. But again, I think that was because of the time. So you can find this recipe online. Which I should have mentioned in the beginning. But if you don't want to get the cookbook, but you definitely want to make this cake, you can find this recipe online. So I loved Prue's Lemon and Thyme Bundt. Thank you, Prue. You are a wizard. You are a master, of course, of baking. And so, yeah, I love this cake. Go try it.